Okay guys, let's roll. 0650. I promised you I would get you the Taylor tapes. Yeah, I like that. I might use that as the title. The Taylor tapes. Yeah. Talk about John le Carré, eh? Spy versus spy. Okay guys, well, I was disappointed yesterday, obviously, in that last video where I reported on what Richard Taylor and Rogue had to say over on the Richie and Rogue show, and I thought I could get away with just watching it and then linking the full video to you and then asking you to watch it. And then it turned out that after the show was over, it was put behind a paywall, so you couldn't do it. So I promised to cut out the relevant bits that I thought you would find interesting. It was a good show, as I said. Start was a bit like Blue Peter. Right, today, children, we'll be talking about how we're going to overthrow the government. Get your notebooks ready. It was a good show and a serious subject. It left me depressed afterwards, but what can you do? What I'm going to do is I've cut out a major part of it from the show that I think you would be interested in, left out lots of other sort of non-relevant stuff, but still of interest, and I would still recommend that you watch the show. I think a commenter, pause Paul, you've got to excuse me, it's my age. I had a comment in late last night from Kay Kira, and she told me that the full tape was over on another channel, TTBD. And you know, for the life of me, I can't remember what that was. The name of that channel was TTBD. It's over there if you would like to go and see it in full. But anyhow, let's move on. I got a lot to do. Background image, that's what I should be working on. I've been trying to build that Patriot sub in the background. I'm going to make another video about that and give you all the information, progress and plans and that. I don't know. Anyhow, that's what I've been working on, or wanted to work on. Rotka. That's the working title for it. Rotka. Return of the Green Arrow. Anyhow, before we get to the Taylor tapes, I saw this. Tommy, what would one of my videos be without talking about Tommy? Yeah, Tommy Robinson, the future belongs to Patriots. I hope so, Tommy. Rupert Lowe MP, Restore Britain will put the safety and well-being of British women ahead of third world sex pests who have broken into our country and now freely roam our streets. Yeah. And Tommy Robinson has come back and said, Tommy Robinson, Rupert is the only man in this fight. Farage wants us to prepare for the Islamic takeover. That is true. Why else do you think they are flooding all our major institutions with Muslims? Foreign Office, Crown Prosecution Service. Yeah. Why do you think all these security firms are popping up? Barracks being built. Anyhow, not a number said who should be the next British Prime Minister, Rupert Lowe, Nigel Farage or Keir Starmer. Well, I think I'd have to go with Rupert Lowe. Anyhow, enough of that, guys. Let's get on with the tape now, is it? I'll see you at the end of it.
It's time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I feel from my perspective, and I spoke to Rogue, we've had long conversations late into the night about this, that we almost feel a duty of care to the people who put their trust and faith in us as we were travelling throughout Wales, recruiting, building the membership up for Advance UK. And of course, we met many wonderful people. And many of you have become close friends, and we love you and appreciate you. And when I made the announcement some time back, which by the way has been deleted from the Advance UK Wales X account, we'll come to that a bit later, maybe in the show. I made it very clear they were for personal reasons. Now, let me just explain to you why I did that. Having been involved in politics for maybe 15 years, I've learned sometimes when you step back from something and there's reasons for it, you have to hold your counsel to protect people, to protect the movement you're with at the time, to protect so many different things for very good and valid reasons. But there comes a time when disclosure has to happen, because you leave a vacuum, a space where people make all kinds of assumptions and allegations. Yeah, I mean, we've been called all sorts, right? By the way, but look, we wanted to set the record straight for you, and this tonight is a show where we are not going to lie, because we don't anyway, do we? Right? We're going to speak the truth to you because you deserve to know the truth. And so we're going to take it back a little bit and take on a bit of a journey. And then later, after we've done our show here, and the reason we've gone to a members only section at 9:15 or 9 o'clock is so that you can interact with us live and come on the show and discuss with us your feelings and concerns as well, which is not for the public here, but it'll be for us as our members and private here on our YouTube channels. For those who have joined as members, let me say a huge thank you as well for that.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to talk about actually
just reading a comment there. We're not doing comments tonight because of this. Now, just for you know, the pay thing afterwards is not the full reveal. We're going to talk on here. Okay, the pay thing afterwards is people who ask questions. Okay, so and then it's more personal. So I'll just let you know. Sorry, Rob, do you want to carry on?
Yeah, no. So we then basically had a team. So we actually went through the right procedure via advances
to launch pilot branches and regions that would be the template for Scotland and for Northern Ireland. And so we went away. We found we were then put into interim positions, and then imminently, completely, without any reason whatsoever,
doing something wrong. So please, can we just hold on to that for a moment?
Yeah, and I think what people didn't realize is, I mean, we did that traination builder with the head of IT as well. So just clarify that as well. And I think what you have to understand is you cannot lead a political party in Wales if you don't have access to your members, and you're back crazy and shit mad if you think that. Anyway, let's just not pass that by. So
I just need to say, it cuts us off at the knees. It literally cut us off at the knees. So we're in a tour, we are going around, and then they just oust us by cutting us out and then telling us to reapply. So then Richard Thompson had stated that we needed to, I needed to apply. So I honoured that and said, fine, I'll reapply. But when I said to him, so what jobs are available in Wales at the moment? He said, just the regional director.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, so my job as operational manager is not now available. And he basically said, no, there isn't. There's only one job left. So we were ousted. We were told that this structure was his way or the highway. And so then we ended up having to have a conversation with him and Ben. And we felt that it was very, very important to have a conversation to basically hold them to account. So we said, look, this isn't the right way to do it. This isn't appropriate. And, you know, I have people that are coming and wanting to be on board. We need to do it properly. We need to do it quickly, because we are supposed to be piloted very, very early on in January. And it just stopped dead, didn't it?
Yeah, so the pilots then weren't to go ahead, and then we get press releases, which, by the way, I was not informed of any press releases before they went out. I was not given any privy information, and I would have thought, as someone who's a lieutenant for Ben, and you know, and I've been very faithful to him and remained very respectful and worked very hard with the team as well. To find things out from members, not from HQ, that were going on in the party was quite a shock to me. I thought, oh, right, okay, really. I think what has happened as well is it's made me understand something very clear. I admire a man's sacrifice to start a political party, and I admire the fact that many people believe in Ben and believe in what he set out to do with those qualities of freedom of speech, sovereignty, democracy, and equality in the law, all wonderful principles upon which I've tried to live my life. But in practice, it's very different. And what we have seen in recent weeks, and we're going to talk a little bit later, so please do not leave, because we're going to discuss the more what's happened in the last 48 hours, because we have been in conversation with people close to Rupert. And there's been some discussions which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show, because there's some things you really need to know, and I'm going to tell you because I think it's important people know. Otherwise, it's not an exclusive. Let's be honest. And these things are done, to protect people's confidentiality as well. But we will tell you what we're able to tell you. And what has happened since is, so the reason for the resignation is we could not work with what we were working with. Now, 2 days ago, I went on to, I was asked actually, let me go back. So I got a message.
I think we need to talk about the Christmas party.
Well, we can talk about that. Yeah. Do you want to tell them? Yeah.
So we had basically set up a party and an event, and we were again hijacked and we were cancelled. Oh, in fact, we were actually put in Nazi suits, weren't we? Mm-hmm. So because we were put in Nazi suits, we went to Ben and just said, look, this isn't appropriate. We are actually being targeted. So we're going to get extra security, but we don't really want to cancel. And Ben decided, for the safety of Richie and myself, that we would cancel the event. So
that was the Chepstow one. Yeah.
That was the Chepstow.
Ben cancelled it, didn't he? Yeah.
So we had a really good guy called Martin who basically decided that, do you know what? We're not going to be beaten. We're not going to actually sort of be cast to the wayside. Wales still needs to have an event and we need to be heard. So he organised a Christmas party. So we put everything together. We spent lots of money on the party. We hired a hall. We, got the bar ready. We had all the tables out. We got all the cloth, everything that you needed to make what was a room look into an amazing little, sort of party fest, and it was all patriotic and it was ready for Ben to arrive. Ben had agreed to arrive. And at 3 o'clock on the afternoon, he said he wasn't coming, that he had to have an investor, a conversation, meeting with an investor. And I have to be honest, the gasp of disappointment when people realized that he wasn't coming was horrific. And we had to shoulder that. We had to carry that weight of the people who were just completely disappointed and they didn't,
I want to say I'm very grateful to Jim Ferguson who came, and Paul Burgess as well, who gave some wonderful speeches, and to all the members who were there. Were very disappointed. And I had to pretend that, it's going to be okay and get everyone going, it's okay, and all that kind of stuff. But it's not a good look when, the leader of a party doesn't come to something like that when it's in Wales, his first time in Wales. And we have tried since to get Ben in Wales when we were leading here, but apparently it's too far, 2.5 hours drive direction.
Yeah, so I said that I was going to do an event, and Ben basically said that he will not go 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours out of London. However, when you then see him in Manchester and you see him elsewhere, you can understand why the Welsh people say, what is going on? Why is he not wanting to come to Wales? What is wrong with us for you not to want to come and talk to us, to engage with us, to come and hold conversation with us and get to meet us? Because we are here in support of you, Ben.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say this isn't about us, because we quite frankly, we don't, well, I say we don't care, you get what I mean. We don't really care, but we care about the members. And it was the members who felt let down. And we had to shoulder and shield a lot of members coming to us and saying, what is going on? What's happening? Why is this happening? Don't they care about Wales? Don't they care? And I'm there with tears in my eyes, passionately, which I do, care about Wales, and having to come under a structure and a leadership that didn't recognize the importance of Wales. And I can no longer work under that or tolerate that. Now, there are other personal reasons I've mentioned. Rogue will know I've got a poorly mother who I have to take care of as well. And there are other family issues that I'm facing. But those were personal issues, but there were other reasons. And this is why this disclosure is important. Now, I say that to say all of this. You might want to talk more about that, Rogue, in a few moments. But I think that what we've seen, the exponential growth with Advanced UK, has happened very, very fast and very rapid. And since that growth, of course, there have been some teething problems, of course. But if I am to do anything with any party, with any organization, with any activism within Wales, it has to be because they care about Wales. After resigning from the leadership, and stepping down as the leading the party here in Wales. They then put out a call for a national director. Now this office was unheard of, because it was something I said it needed, but they said no, we're having a regional director. I resigned. They said no, now we're having a national director. And they went ahead and appointed someone as a national director. Some of you probably don't know who he is. You can find out on their website, because he's not very well known, I don't think, is he, in Wales, certainly. But that's not having a dig, that's the truth. But what I would say is this: what happened then is the social media side of things, Rob.
Yes. So I had basically set up with one of the team, the Wales Advanced UK X account. And this particular person contacted and said, we'd like the details. And actually, to be honest, I'm really terrible with passwords. So I had to go back to the team, and the team had been busy. So I was trying to find out the passwords. I was trying to get to understand everything. And what I do know, it was affiliated to my phone number. And I then went on to my X, and at the top, if you've got multiple accounts, you can see the different account, and it had just vanished. Completely vanished, which means that my information somehow has been used against it, and that really shocked me. So we quickly then went on to have a look to see what happened to the actual X account. Was it being utilized? And if it had, then that would explain why it's completely disappeared. And you went on and you were blocked.
Yeah. So yeah, I find it was quite hilarious at the start, actually, to find that the X account for Wales, Advanced UK Wales, that we pioneered and set up with our team, that I was blocked. And I'm like, oh, that's unusual. Why would you block the former leader of the party, on the X account? And so I then messaged, I think it was Ben Habib actually at the time, and then Richard Thompson as well, for some explanation. And Richard Thompson came back and explained there'd been a mistake, and and then I said, well, quite honestly, it's not a mistake, and I'll tell you the reasons why. I don't care about being blocked, by the way, just to let you know, right? Got enough followers on X anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. But it's the principle. I was then told it was a mistake that I was blocked on the Advanced UK X account, which we'd set up. Then I went through the timeline, and they deleted and erased and removed posts in relation to all the work, a majority of the work that we had done up and down Wales, with videos of members, pictures of members meeting, wonderful people that they are, and many will be on here tonight. They had deleted it as if they wanted to get rid of any memory or any mention of the work that we had done for them here in Wales. Now, I know that Ben may not know this, so this is not directed at him, but of course, they're part of his team.
Yeah.
And you need to know as a leader what your team are doing or what they are failing to do. And as a result of that, I then contacted the national director and pointed this out to him, to which his response to me was, stop being immature, Richard.
He actually said he hopes that you could handle it in a mature way.
Yeah.
The point is, how are you supposed to handle it in any way when you're not being responded to? So if you're not getting a response, you are going to put something out public to kind of say, what's going on, guys? Really need to go, what's going on? And then when everybody saw that you had posted that you had been blocked, then it came out as a massive reaction. Everybody was saying, oh my God, is this true? Is this true? Why is it being blocked? But not only that, blocking was kind of a bit of a shock. And I think that when somebody says it's a mistake and then they're going to correct it immediately, but then unfortunately every single thing that actually related to us and how we started the fight, there's got to be a timeline. There's got to be like the history and the historical timeline of what's happened for people to know that. So you can't just erase history, and that's what has happened. Now, I'm not saying it was Ben, and I don't even know if it was Richard Thompson, but Pete Prosser is the new leader of Wales. And that is really where it's at. So we don't know who's done it or why they've done it.
Yeah, and what can I say on that as well? One of the things that I did say to Ben and advised him that
and Richard Thompson,
that standing candidates in the Welsh elections would be political suicide at this stage, with 80 days to go, whatever it is, given the fact that Reform are polling so high and likely to have a majority slightly over Plaid Cymru. And to stand candidates in the Senate elections will be a political suicidal move. People would lose their deposits of £500. It would cost them in excess of £1,000 with their campaign leaflets and everything else. And why would you just throw people under the bus like that and say, stand as a candidate, it'd be wonderful. You're not going to win a seat. The chances of winning seats here in Wales, even under PR, when Advance UK in Wales are polling at 0%, you've got zero chance of winning a seat. That advice was taken on board and Ben agreed.
He did agree.
He agreed. And because he left it to me, he said, you know Wales, you know the political landscape, I'll leave that to you. And I made that decision when I was the leader. And even after I stepped down and resigned as the leader, for some of the reasons I've mentioned, because I can't work within the political structure they set up, because I think it's flawed and failed, I was shocked to hear that the new leader of the national director, Peter Prosser, is all over social media now asking people to stand as candidates for Advance UK here in Wales. They're allowed to do that, of course. That's democracy. Democracy is a wonderful thing. But I would say this, they're going to end up looking stupid. And I cannot put myself or my name towards that when I've given people the advice. Now, I'm going to tell you, people have asked me, Rogan, I'm going to be honest. When we were traveling, people used to say to me, Richard, what am I going to do? Who do I vote for in the Senate elections? Because, Advance have just started. There's no other alternative. If you want to keep Plaid Cymru, which we certainly do, definitely Welsh Labour, my advice is to vote for Reform.
Mm-hmm.
Hold your nose if you must, but they are the best of the worst case scenario. That's called doing what is right for the country, for the people of Wales.
Yeah.
Even if it's not palatable to you or to me or something you don't agree with, listen, I'd rather have Reform in the Senate than have Welsh Labour or Plaid Cymru.
Yeah.
Right? Because we know what they've done after 2 decades
of
devolution.
Plaid Cymru, yeah.
And so we've had a whole range of issues happen. And we are not here to slate the party. We're not here to slate Ben Habib. As I've said at the start of this, it's not a personal attack. I've got a lot of time for Ben, a lot of respect for him as a human being, as a man. But when it comes to leadership, when it comes to understanding how things work here in Wales, they do not have a grasp. It appears to me, from my past experience with other political parties, that when they start up in London, they become very London-centric.
Mm-hmm.
And rather understand under devolution, which we currently have to work with, which has been a disaster. As many of you know, I'm against it myself personally. I would turn Senedd into the Wetherspoons. But there's a failure to understand that. And I think if you're going to lead a political party, Rogue, and you have people in Scotland and in Northern Ireland, you need to allow them the capacity with autonomy to do what needs to be done. And if you put constraints and hurdles and blockages on that and not give them the resources or the tools, it's like me saying to you, go and build a wall, but not give you any cement or give you the trowel or give you any bricks. You're like, well, how am I supposed to build it if you haven't got these things? What has happened is we have seen this happen with us certainly.
By people either putting us in Nazi suits, cancellations, but not even having the support in the infrastructure was just another nail in the coffin. And it's so important, and with Caroline getting sacked because she was trying to do something for Wales, I just find it absurd. Again, I don't know that from the other side. I know her point of view, and I'm sorry, Caroline, that happened, and I feel bad. I also know that another lady, two ladies that were also really, really important in the infrastructure and had set up the main hub also left. And that was kind of 3 integral people that left. And, it was making work more and more difficult for me to onboard people or for me to put people through certain processes to ensure that I could stand the right candidates. And then Richard Thompson completely took over, and that's fine. That was his job. That was Ben's idea to have somebody to do that. And that's obviously absolutely what Ben felt was needed. But then it had this cascading effect of devastation where we were just cut off at the knees. And that is, for me, why I ended up having to leave. And especially when within a week of you resigning, them putting Pete Prosser in was just, for me, a kick in the teeth. It was like, it's just a week. And I understand that you have to put new people in. But I had asked about, has somebody been appointed for this role, and I was told categorically no. And I now feel that I'd been lied to, because apparently they hadn't onboarded them and they hadn't put them through, and that felt quite horrible, because you're supposed to build trust and relationships and have good relational, sort of business and transactional conversations that actually build the structure, not destroy the structure.
Yeah. So I just want to, I mean, someone's mentioned the Facebook page, but I don't have access. By the way, I have no access to any of our social medias. I just did my videos, sent them to the team of volunteers who've all left now, unfortunately, and they would post them for me, right? So I didn't have hands on, so you're aware of that. I think what's important about that, because, is it something we want to do at this stage of our lives? But we're fighting not for ourselves, for ambition, for ego, for money, for fame, none of that. It's for the people. It's for our children and their children's children. That they're the people that matter. When we go, what legacy are we going to leave for people? Enough of this infighting. And this isn't us infighting. This is us having to explain to you the reasons why we stepped down from Advanced UK in Wales is because the leadership, the structure, the administration is completely broken. It does not work. What you hear online and what you see are two different things from what's happening behind the scenes.
Yep.
Okay, guys, there you go. Make of it what you will. I find Richard to be credible. Now I've got a couple of other tips to make today. They were clear as crystal when I was lying in bed thinking about them, and now they've gone right out of it. But I do remember that one of them was going to be a hatchet job. I'm going to have to think about that. When I do an hatchet job, I do an hatchet job. Depending on my mood, I'll sometimes use the stiletto. And other times, when I'm feeling particularly irritated, I like to use a hatchet. And that's more messy. Anyhow, you'll have to wait and see. Okay, guys, you've been listening to Paul Morris, Return of the Green Arrow.